My mom called me crying and said my dad had a medical emergency. 2 months later, I learned that emergency was my brother's luxury honeymoon, paid with my wedding money. And the proof came because my husband tricked them into confessing in writing. I was 26, engaged after 6 years, and I'd been saving for a beach wedding. I had about $155K set aside from 5 years of grinding and advertising and living small so we could go big once. The beach was our place, so I'd been scouting ocean view hotels like every other bride with a dream. Then my brother got married fast. Tiny ceremony. A few weeks later, my mom asked to borrow $115K because my dad's diabetes was acting up and the doctors wanted some imported drug insurance wouldn't cover. I wired it immediately. I kept thinking, what kind of daughter hesitates over her dad's health? But every time I asked for reports, my mom dodged. My dad stayed in bed, yet he didn't look sick. The TV was always blasting and he still argued about the remote. I kept wondering if I was paranoid or if they were staging this. So I texted my brother, "Why aren't you here? Dad's not well." He finally called and said, "Casual as hell. I'll stop by when I'm back from my honeymoon." Honeymoon, Europe, a month. No posts, no mention. He said he wanted to surprise everyone with photos. Then he dropped it. Our parents were funding the whole trip because they couldn't give them a big wedding. That's when I realized my mom's missing paperwork wasn't an accident. It was a cover. I asked him, "How much are they paying?" He sounded proud. "At least $125K. Best hotels, best restaurants, shopping too." First, my hand froze around my phone. Then my throat tightened so hard it hurt. Next, I heard my own breathing, loud and ugly. After that, the numbers stacked in my head like bricks. Again, he said, "At least, like it was cute." Then the betrayal landed, heavy and stupid, and I just stared at the wall, blinking. When I confronted my parents, they didn't even pretend. "We had to make up a story," my dad said. My mom added, "You wouldn't have helped if you knew it was for him." They told me I was young, I could earn it back, and their retirement mattered more. They said it was just money, and I needed to think about family. I couldn't tell if they believed their own garbage, or if they just didn't care who bled as long as it wasn't them. I reminded them I'd already paid for college because they made me choose. College or a wedding, not both. My brother never had to choose. Looking back, that was the loudest proof of who mattered in that house. They refused to pay me back before my wedding. I actually begged. They shook their heads like I was asking for a favor instead of my own money. My husband wanted to sue, but we had nothing in writing, so we pivoted. His aunt offered her farmhouse for free. Not the beach, but it was ours. We scaled down, cut the guest list, and I cut my parents off. I was on the fence about my brother until he came back and ripped into me for humiliating our parents by asking for repayment. That made the decision easy. We got married in secret with the people who actually loved us. It felt peaceful, almost unreal. I posted a few photos later, thinking the worst was behind me. It wasn't. My parents called screaming, then added my brother so they could yell in surround sound. "Why weren't we invited?" I said, "After you stole from me, you didn't make the list." Click. Blocked. Then they went after my husband. They waited at his workplace, tailed him, and honked like lunatics until he pulled over. They dragged him to a diner booth and tried to recruit him. "She's overreacting," my brother said. My mom sniffed. "Tell her to unblock us." My husband nodded, calm, sympathetic. He told them, "If you want her to soften, send her something heartfelt. Own what you did." They ate it up. An hour later, my inbox lit up with a message admitting they lied about my dad, borrowed the $115K, and handed it to my brother for his honeymoon. The next email was even worse. Details, excuses, the full confession, like they were writing a villain monologue. That was the moment I understood. They weren't sorry. They were sloppy. We forwarded everything to a lawyer. Now they can explain their family-first philosophy to a judge, and they can figure out how to fund retirement after lighting their own finances on fire. My husband calls it justice. I call it my wedding fund coming home and a quiet beach trip for just us.